I've got 5 words for you. Michael freaking Ironside. Holy crap! Finally, they brought that guy back on, and it's a good time to do it because obviously Darkseid is the villain of the season. And if you didn't know, he was the voice of Darkseid in the Superman animated series and the Justice League cartoon. And I am a big, big fan of Michael Ironside. I don't even play. I think it's Metal Gear Solid that Solid Snake is in. Obviously, I don't play a lot of video games, but no, it's Splinter Cell, I believe. Sam Fisher's in. Yeah, I obviously don't play a lot of video games. So yeah, basically, Michael Ironside is. I'm just a big fan of him. The guy is freaking awesome. Like I will see any movie that guy is in. God forbid, even Highlander 2. So let's get on to the episode. Ambush is about General Sam Lane going to Smallville, where he's visiting Lois and Clark for Thanksgiving with Lucy, Lois's sister. And so they come to the house, and Rick Flag and the Suicide Squad, who is apparently joined by DC Comics version of Nightcrawler, minus the blue skin, the German accent, and the tail. So just a teleporter. So they're tracking Sam Lane because he is a supporter of the Vigilante Registration Act, which is wanting to register all the superheroes like Green Arrow, the Blur, and all the others, and make them working for the government. So they end up catching Lois and Clark making out half naked in front of the Kent farm door. So yeah, he's the best thing that I love about Sam Lane. I've only looked at him a little bit in the comics, but the guy is so impossible to please. Basically, he doesn't like Clark and he doesn't like Superman, and that's very evident here. He doesn't like heroes at all. He doesn't like Clark. Basically, nobody is good enough for his daughter. So he's this stereotype, father, and he's kind of like, so you live in your okay. This is a terrible Michael Ironside impression. If he ever was to watch this, I know the man would be just disappointed in my impression. But basically, anyway, he's kind of like, you live in your mother's basement. Lois does more work than you, and basically, he's kind of just pushing Clark down and down and down, and so yeah, basically Clark is kind of not liking the general around the house. He gives him all these freaking chores to do, and like chop wood, scrub the bathroom with a toothbrush, and he's kind of chopping the wood like with his karate chop in the barn. Like, yes sir, chop the wood, yes sir. So that was definitely a very interesting part of the episode. Lucy, in the meantime, is for some reason trying to make out with Clark. I thought originally that was the general trying to test Clark's loyalty to Lois, but no, Lucy just wanted to get her some action with Clark. That was about it. So Lois is kind of in the middle of this debate with her father because she loves Clark, but she wants to please her father. She's got respect for both of them, and she doesn't want to have to choose. And she wants to have a nice, normal family Thanksgiving. So, General Lane begins to get a little suspicious about Clark, and he decides to investigate. He goes into I don't know if it was the CIA or the FBI. He's looking, or the Pentagon. That was what it was. And he's looking about Clark's past, and he can't find anything. But of course, he's also opposed to Martha Kent, the senator of Kansas. And he thinks that she might have been hiding some stuff that people would want to know about Clark. So basically, he kind of interrogates him, and but because Rick Flag actually gave Lucy these, like a picture of Clark with Kara. And so yeah, he's kind of like, General Lane's starting to put the pieces together, and he's wondering what's going on. And so he pretty much like puts Clark to sit down in this chair, puts the lamp in front of him, and you obviously can't see the lamp in my basement here. So he's kind of At first, I thought it was going to be like something like Meet the Parents, spoofing the Ben Stiller Robert De Niro scene. But no, he was actually like full on interrogating him. And so he's really suspicious, and Clark pretty much stands up to him. Nobody stands up to Michael Ironside. I'm just going to point that fact out. And he's kind of like, you know what? I love your daughter, and he's pretty much like back off, and he's like, I want to spend as much time as I can with her, and he's like, well, I hope you enjoyed the time that you've had with her because she's not going to be with you anymore. So he pretty much drags Lois out of the house, and Lois, you know, torn between her father and her love for Clark, ends up going with it, and then she gets to the Talon, and she's kind of like, putting her foot in the ground, and she's like, basically, she decides to put her love for Clark first, and she tells the general to back off. And there's this homing device that Lucy accidentally slipped onto, or not accidentally, onto Sam Lane that was linked to this missile that Rick Flag was going to fire at him. That ends up left at the Talon where Lois is after she gets her father and her sister to go away. And so what happens is the missile is headed for Lois while they're, the General and Lucy are outside the Talon. The Talon blows up. No more coffee shop / theater anymore. And basically, Lois gets saved at the last minute by the Blur. And, yeah, and it's kind of interesting because, he's talking, like, General Lane's like, they're acts of terrorism. They're, leaving their marks and vandalizing, like, people in the streets of Metropolis. And Clark, burns the symbol into the wall, which he hasn't done before, but I think it was kind of a bit of a, see, I did it, I don't care what you say, kind of move. Like, he's pretty much, like, so what? I don't care what you think anymore. So yeah, that was interesting to see. What basically happens is he gets a little bit of respect. I don't know if he fully repeals his thoughts about the Registration Act, but by the end, he talks to Clark and he owes him an apology. And the tests were really to see if Lois was willing to stand up for her boyfriend. And so I'm going to get back to a certain scene at the end, which I know all the Lois fans were definitely going nuts over. And it doesn't take women's intuition to figure out what it was, because I'm not a woman, and I think that the evidence was pretty clear on there. It wasn't that hard to put two and two together. But basically, what is also happening is Oliver finds out about the tattoos from the Suicide Squad that is tracking them and the other heroes, like Clark. And so he finds this out from Tess. He's not really fully trusting Tess, but that changes by the end of the episode. But Oliver decides to make a decision. I think his decision it was difficult to hear. I believe he said he's not coming back to Watchtower anymore because now that people know he's Green Arrow, he's putting his identity at risk, or he's putting the Watchtower at risk. So he's kind of like, I can't really risk the other heroes' protection anymore. And so in the meantime, what happens is Rick Flag, he gets his truck kicked over by Clark, and he's basically got the theory, violence is the only answer to stop these people from ending the superheroes from, saving people and protecting the country. So back to the last scene between Clark and the General. What basically happens is Clark talks to Sam Lane. We get a little bit of hint of Terry Hatcher's appearance on... sorry, I probably should have said spoiler alert. Terry Hatcher will be coming next week as Ella Lane. Sorry, I should have said spoiler alert. And I'm not going to be able to review that episode when it comes out next week straight after. I'm going to try very, very hard to get it by the end of next weekend. But that's another story for itself. What Clark basically says to General Lane, and I'm not going to lead you on. I'm going to let the thought sit for itself because I think you can guess what it was. He says to General Lane, basically what he says is, I hate to draw you out with this, but basically what he says is, regarding me and Lois, there's something that I want to ask you. I think you can all tell what he wants to ask General Lane regarding him and Lois. And frankly, you know what I think it is, I think that it is premature. I really do. I'm not saying that Clark and Lois don't have great chemistry together. I just think it is very premature. Anyway, so they have the regular Thanksgiving dinner, and an anti-hero thing gets blown up by Rick Flag, and that's basically how the episode ends.